Hello everyone, welcome back to another Black Clover mobile video. Today is just gonna be a quick one because I wanted to talk about something real quick that I have not talked about yet. And I really have to make this quick because I do not have a lot of time. I'm very stressed today and I kind of also need to upload a Sims 4 video because there's a new pack coming out, so if you're interested in that, check that out once it's out. But either way, I have not talked about the raid yet, and I see there's only 3 days left now. But that's okay because that's basically also something that I wanted to address. So, this Battle Gigas raid event at the moment, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, I think it is too hard. I think, or maybe it's not too hard, but I mean, you can break it down to either one of three different things, right? Either it is too hard to beat for new players, the rewards are not good enough, and by rewards I do not mean the ones that you can get in the shop. The ones that you can get in the shop is fine, but what I mean is these coins here, because if you see this jump from part 3, you can get 11 to 13, and from part 4 you can get 30 to 34. And when you look into the exchange center in the shop, you can get a versatile mage piece, an SSR versatile mage piece, and of course that's what you want to have, right? And the only way that you can get this, actually, is if you can... In the first day, you can't even, because you can only do 3 times a day, and you have to do part 1, 2, and then 3 in the order, or else you will not unlock them. And then from day 2 on, you have to do at least part 4 3 times a day. And then you barely have enough of these coins, medals, coins, to even buy the versatile SSR mage piece. And to me personally, I think that really, really sucks, because I can't beat this. I can't beat this right now. I am going to be straight up honest with you guys. I cannot beat this right now. I am not sure if it's because I did not farm gear super crazy. Like, I also have a problem there because I never got Charmy. And then that maybe also comes back to the fact that I did not do a full rotation on the first banner, but it's just because I didn't think it was necessary to do that. Like, I got Asta at some point, and then I just got Mimosa from the gate, and I was set, pretty much. And I'm saving up for Noel and Julius. So, I think, personally, that this event, right now, it should either go for a longer time, or it should be easier. Because this is really hard to beat, especially for free-to-play players, or people that maybe didn't start from the first day, but like from the 3rd day or something. This is still really hard, because you need 8 characters, because you have to do 2 teams, right? You need 8 characters that are at least LR level, and with really, really good gear to be able to do part 4, and there's 6 in total. Like, in Japan, I think we're now at season 7, 8, and the last time this came on, which was like maybe a month ago, I think, I was just able to do this, part 6. And so, and you guys are expecting people to already finish this. This is impossible and ridiculous. Unless you spent a lot of money on the game and you have a bunch of stuff collected already. And I just, I don't know, I don't like it. I don't like that, and I also don't like the fact that they're kind of trying to rush with this game, with the global version. I do understand that they're trying to catch up with things, but at the same time, I also then feel like it's kind of unfair what they're doing next, which is bringing out the second season with Summer Noel, which is one of the strongest characters. They know that people want this character. And then just maybe a couple weeks later, they're gonna bring out Julius for Christmas. And that's just gonna be terrible for free-to-play players. Like, you want Noelle, then you can just get her from the gate, and you have to save up everything else for Julius, or else it will just not be enough for Julius. Like, you can't tell me that you will be able to accumulate enough crystals to be able to get Julius. And I really dislike that. But yeah, this is my opinion, and I saw other people making videos on this and showing you guys teams to build that can battle these, and either I didn't like the teams, or I felt like the advice that people give is not thorough enough. So I also wanted to go ahead and maybe give you a few tips how to beat this more consistently, or at least beat it, right? So the problem with this boss is there's 2 phases, and you need 1 team for each phase. So that's the first problem. You need 8 characters, like I said just now. And then the second problem is, so in phase 1, he is a defender and he is blue. And in the second phase, he is an attacker and he's red. So right off the bat, in my opinion, for the first phase, you would want a team that is mainly green and is also quite defense based, and then that can survive a long time. And on top of that, we have these attacks and we have these passives that the boss has, right? And I saw people just briefly going over this and being like, yeah, you don't want to get hit by this attack. And I'm like, bro, how is that helpful? Like, the thing that you need to look for in this boss is this attack in phase 1, because he performs an extra attack on an enemy if they do not have a barrier. So right off the bat, you would preferably want to have Radis in your team here. And they even give you this little tip if you should not be able to beat the boss, which before I'd never paid attention to, because in the Japanese version obviously I couldn't read it, and here I was like, yeah, I mean, they're probably just gonna give you some tips for characters and like not super serious, but this is the tips that they're giving is actually really helpful. So having Radis on your team here can be really, really helpful, because then you just simply get attacked less. And then second of all, I would advise you to have a healer in this team. Like, Mimosa is probably your best option here. And then I would also go for someone that buffs your speed. And then an attacker, obviously. So what I did so far, I can show you guys. My first team consists of Radis, Finral, Fuegoleon, and Mimosa. And if you have Raya, you can also use Raya instead. Raya is probably even a better option, because Fuegoleon kind of lacks in this, because his attacks are also weak against him, which is a whole nother thing that I never understood in this game, and I don't know what that is dependent on. If anyone knows, please tell me in the comments. But having something like this, a strong setup with a defender and a healer, and then even like a buffer like Finral, who can speed up your team so that you can get more defense and more heals quicker and more attacks as well, is gonna be quite good. Even though personally I don't really like using Finral in this team, I think I would try to use Valtos even because he's also green. Just simply because of the fact that the first phase is blue. And he's gonna attack Finral a lot. And he's gonna deal a lot of damage to Finral. And yeah, so that's the first phase. And with this team, honestly, I do not have a problem in phase 1 at all. Like, I get through pretty easily in part 4 with this. And all of my characters, they don't have that crazy gear. Like, from the people that I watched, every character they have already have, like, fully maxed out LR gear. And I'm like, bro, your average free-to-play player will not have that yet. It's just simply impossible. Like, maybe right now, since this is almost over, yes. But when this started, no. No way. I don't think so. Unless you really sit down and you play this game 24/7. But even then, I feel like I farmed quite a lot. And I used pretty much all of my stamina most of the time. And I'm still not at that point where I can say I have perfect LR gear. Maybe my micromanagement is also not that good. And I just hang on to gear too much. But I don't know. I just think this is very hard to do. But yeah, that's it for phase 1. So this definitely works for phase 1, at least for me. What you have to make sure, though, is to use Radis' shield, like save Radis' shield, sorry, my cat. Save Radis' shield for when the boss is about to do his ultimate, so his big attack, because that deals the most damage and you definitely want to block that, because it's going to be hard to recover from that as well. And on Mimosa, you want to run as much magic attack as you can, because then her heals are going to be better. And on Fuegoleon, obviously, you want to have like magic attack as well, because you want him to deal damage. And also, you want to make sure that he uses his second skill first. So the enemy, the thing, has burn, and then you use his ultimate, because then his ultimate is going to deal a lot more damage. And another thing that I have personally on Fuegoleon, I'm using Yami's skill page, because we got a free Yami skill page in the beginning, and it buffs his crit rate, because Fuegoleon's crit rate is quite low. I'm not sure about Riot. Sorry, just trying to make sure that everything's fine. I don't know how it's with Raya. I don't know if he has better stats, but generally I've seen him be quite strong compared to him. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for phase 1. And then phase 2, he is an attacker that is red. So in my opinion, you want a team that is mainly blue and maybe also red that can deal damage really fast to kill him before he can kill you. Because especially when he does his when he does this attack, Burnout, this deals so much damage. Like, and it casts burn as well, and usually casts two burns, and it will probably take away at least half of the life gauge from every character, and if they're burning, they will die next turn, because the burn also does so much damage on top of that. And then also this passive is quite important. So he grants Berserk for 2 turns at the start of battle, and every time the duration of exhaustion ends. So because so what this means, oh my god, this is kind of hard to understand. So he grants himself Berserk for 2 turns, and every time the duration of exhaustion ends. So every time exhaustion ends, he gets Berserk again, and exhaustion gets applied to him when Berserk ends, right? So basically meaning he's gonna be in Berserk mode for 2 turns. After the second turn, he's gonna go into exhaustion. And then he's in exhaustion for 1 turn, and after that ends, he's gonna go back to Berserk mode. So technically, the best thing in this case would actually be to wait, or like to stall him for 2 turns and stay alive as best as possible. So when he goes into exhaustion, you can go and then deal a lot of damage, because when he is in exhaustion, he gets 50% increased damage taken. And that's quite huge. And another thing that is important here is this other passive, he is immune to status ailments. So where in phase 1, he does not have immunity. He does have immunity status. Okay, never mind. I'm talking bullshit. So you cannot stun him or anything. So that is not gonna be that's not gonna be an option. Even though that would actually be really helpful if that would work. So for my second team, I am using this at the moment, which I was not having a lot of luck with. So I'm using Lotus, obviously, because he slows him down, 1. Second, he gives Incapacitate, which gives 50% more damage taken, I believe. And then I have Charlotte in here as well, because Charlotte, with her second skill, also reduces defense. So you can reduce the defense once with Charlotte, and you could give him Incapacitate with Lotus. So he gets a lot more damage. And in the best case, I think he will attack you first. If you're lucky, it will not be the burn attack, and then it is your turn. You're gonna apply the debuffs with Lotus and Charlotte, and then you can use Asa's ult, which deals a bunch of damage, and he gets another turn, and then you attack with his second skill, and you deal even more damage, and then I just have Solid in here to then basically give the final blow, which has not worked for me super well yet. I also seen people use Nebra in here, because she gives 70% defense reduction, which is pretty much huge, and works well if you're not dying in the first turn, obviously, which I think is only possible if you have like speed gear on them, like perfect speed gear, gold speed gear. But if you don't have that, then she's pretty much gonna die in the first turn because he's a red attacker. So using Nebra in this phase is, in my opinion, not the best option to do. But like I said, I was not able to finish this yet, and I never paid attention to the tips. But last time I looked into the tips, and it said for second phase, why don't you try using Vanessa? And I'm like, why Vanessa? And then they say, because with her skill 2, she removes DOT effects. And I'm like, why did I never notice that? Why did I never notice that about her? This is a really, really good effect for this mission. So maybe if you still have some time and you have some resources left, maybe put it into Vanessa and try doing this with her, because I feel like removing the burn is gonna be really, really helpful, because then you're not instantly gonna die and you can stay alive longer. And on top of that, if I am not mistaken, she also, one second,
I've got 3 daughters, you know.
she also, with her ult, is it her ult? Yes. With her ult, she gives total defense and Blessing of Protection. And that's also gonna keep you alive for longer, basically. Because if you... Blessing of Protection basically gives you 8% of max HP as HP recovery when damage resistance is triggered against an enemy's attack. So basically he hits you and you get 8% of your max HP back. Plus total defense, which... I'm not sure why it does not really say what it does, but I think total defense just, yeah, reduces the damage taken, but it doesn't say for how much percentage. But yeah, I think that's probably gonna be pretty good. So if I have the chance to, I'm gonna try that with her, but right now I couldn't, and I didn't think of it before, so I couldn't try it, and I didn't put any resources into her yet because I thought she's green, and no one is talking about Vanessa. Like, why is no one talking about her? And she's kind of low in the tier list as well. So I was like, I had her in the back of my mind. I was like, yeah, Vanessa is kind of good for the green team also, but then I got Mimosa and I was like, okay, then I don't need her anymore because I was just thinking of the HP recovery in my head that she has. But she removes the OT effects, and that's kind of pog, actually, for this stage. So if you can, and you have some resources left, maybe try to invest it in her and try using this team, and instead of Solid, you use her. Or maybe you just switch out one of them, or like switch her out for Nebra and switch him out for Vanessa and try to do as much damage as possible. But I think this is the best way to go about this boss, to be honest, and I really hope that this helped somehow a little. Even though this event is almost over again, and I'm so sorry that I'm so late on this, but I really couldn't do it. And I thought, okay, if I can't even do part 4 myself, it doesn't make any sense to make a video on this. But I definitely wanted to address this because I felt like it was quite important. And I think it could also be quite helpful for players in the future that maybe do not have a lot of characters and not a lot of stuff in general. But yeah, let me know in the comments if this helped and what you guys think about this. Like I said, in my personal opinion, I think this is a little too hard, or they just didn't give us enough time, and I think it's kind of a little bit unfair because it's easier to do for whales and stuff, anyways. But yeah, it is what it is, and now all we can do is look forward to Noel and Julius, and then most of these things are gonna get a lot easier anyways, so yeah, as always, stay kind, stay balanced, and keep gaming, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye everyone.